Did the Minnesota Vikings just get some bad news on Trey Smith, or is bad news coming for the Vikes in terms of signing him during NFL free agency? We're going to break it down on today's edition of Vikings Now by Chat Sports. My name is Patrick Siepman, and welcome in. So, are the Minnesota Vikings about to get bad news on signing Trey Smith? We'll talk about it on today's show because it's looking like number 65 right here may just head back to the Kansas City Chiefs. But still, if you guys want the Vikings to land Trey Smith this year in free agency, send a message to the Vikings front office, send a message to Kwesi Adofo-Mensah, and hit that thumbs up icon. Who knows? What if Kwesi's watching one of today's shows and he sees this up on screen, he scrolls down, he's like, oh snap, there's 1,200 likes on this video. The fans want him. I should probably go get him. So if you guys want the Vikes to land Trey Smith, go down there, hit that thumbs up icon. So is Trey Smith re-signing with the Kansas City Chiefs? Well, there's growing optimism that the Chiefs will sign Trey Smith to a new 5-year deal. Now, I got a lot of thoughts on this, and we'll kind of walk through today's show, outline those. But, you know, if I'm Trey Smith, bare minimum, I'm at least going to test the market. But let's just say Trey Smith does decide to go back to the Kansas City Chiefs. He wants to stay in that organization. He still wants to keep playing for Patrick Mahomes. Andy Reid would not blame him one bit for doing that. The Vikings would have to have a plan B. Like, one, I don't know if Trey Smith is plan A, but I would assume with all the reports we're getting, like Ben Gessling put out a report a couple of weeks ago saying the Vikings would go all in on interior offensive line. And I'm assuming Trey Smith would be, obviously he's the crown prize at that position. But the Vikings have to have a plan B. Now, also, with Trey Smith, if maybe you want to lure him out of Kansas City, you're going to have to make him the highest paid offensive guard in the National Football League. And that number starts at $21 million. Like, I don't even know if Trey Smith is going to have a conversation with a team if the projected offer is less than $20 million. But like Landon Dickerson got paid during the year, getting $21 million per year. Robert Hunt was the highest paid offensive guard heading into the season at $20 million. Now keep in mind he signed a 5-year $100 million deal. So maybe a Trey Smith, maybe he's going to want maybe like a 5-year $120 million deal. Would the Vikings offer that? I have no idea. But if he is re-signing before free agency, or if that's his plan, I would have to disagree with that. I still think Trey Smith's, like his reps, his agent, you would have to advise him to go hit the open market and drive his price up. So we'll see if that happens because, if I'm his agent, I'm going to say, hey, even if you want to return to the Kansas City Chiefs, and let's just say the Chiefs have a lot of interest in him, I'm still telling Trey, hey, man, let's go test the market. Maybe a team like the Bears or the Vikings or the Patriots or the Texans, offer us a 5-year, $110 million deal. We could go back to the Chiefs saying, hey, this is what they're offering us. How much can you offer us? And then maybe they get a deal done there. But I would still anticipate Trey Smith hitting free agency. But this is still the contract projection I'm rolling out there for Trey. A 5-year, $110 million makes him the highest paid offensive guard of all time in the National Football League, getting $22 million per year. Now, I'll tell you what, if this is the contract the Vikings signed Trey Smith to, I mean, he better work out. Like, that's all I'm going to say. Like, if you sign Trey Smith to a 5-year, $115 million deal, he better come in and be one of the best offensive guards in the National Football League, which he has been over the last couple of years. But also that contract projection I just put up, I could see Trey Smith getting even more than this in free agency because I think teams were watching the Super Bowl. And obviously Trey Smith was one of those guards that got his ass kicked in the Super Bowl. But I'm sure teams are thinking trenches, trenches, trenches. And with him being by far the best guard offensive free agent out there, I could even see him getting 5 for 120, if not like 5 for 125, just teams getting desperate. And some of those other teams that could be in competition for Trey Smith, like the New England Patriots, they have all types of money to spend in free agency. And with a rookie quarterback, using that rookie QB contract to go get aggressive and build a good team around him, they're going to be in on Trey Smith. Watch out for the Cardinals. They want him apparently, the Raiders and the Giants. And then I think this team at the bottom in our own division is going to be our biggest conversation, our biggest competition for Trey Smith, the Chicago Bears. If you go look it up right now, sports books, if they're predicting where Trey Smith's going to play next season, if it's not the Kansas City Chiefs, the Chicago Bears are the overwhelming favorite. Ryan Poles, former offensive lineman. He was also with the Kansas City Chiefs when they drafted Trey Smith. His wife is actually from Chicago, so there's a connection there. I honestly think it might be an NFC North bidding war for Trey Smith. But, what do you guys think? Will the Chiefs re-sign Trey Smith? What do you think is going to happen? Give me a Y for yes or give me an N for no down below in the comments section. You guys let me know your thoughts. Will Trey Smith re-sign with the Kansas City Chiefs? All right, so coming up, let's just say Trey Smith does re-sign with Kansas City. We miss out. The Bears miss out. What is plan B for Kwesi Adofo-Mensah and the Minnesota Vikings? If Trey Smith's off the table, where could the Vikings look next in free agency to land an interior offensive lineman? We'll talk about that here in a second. But before we do so, got to give a massive shout out to today's presenting sponsor, and that is actually our good old friends over at PrizePicks. Now, if you guys download the PrizePicks app today and plug in that promo code CLNS, you guys will get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the PrizePicks app today, plug in that promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Now, what is PrizePicks? Well, PrizePicks is the best place to get real money sports action. With over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings, PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to all. All you do, you pick more or less on at least 2 players for a chance to win up to 1,000 times your cash. Run your game all season long on PrizePicks. Now, with the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Minnesota Wild, their season still going on. If you guys want to make those games a lot more interesting, downloading the PrizePicks app and creating a lineup is a great way to do so. So download the app today, plug in that promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Download the app today, plug in promo code CLNS, get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. Got that link for you guys in the comments and description of today's show. But shout out to PrizePicks. Run your game. All right, what's Kwesi's plan B? Let's break it down. So if Trey Smith signs, or if he stays in Kansas City, where will the Vikings pivot to in free agency? Now, will they abandon the offensive guard spot? Will they go all in on defensive line? I think it would actually be the center position. I think it would be Drew Dalman. I still think Drew Dalman is a part of the Vikings' plans, even if Trey Smith does hit the market. Like, I'm sure a dream offseason for Kwesi is like, hey, we go get Dalman, we go get Trey Smith. But I almost think if Trey Smith re-signs with the Kansas City Chiefs, Dalman becomes a priority. Like, if we get that notification, like, over the next week, Trey's staying in Kansas City on a 5-year deal, I think Bradbury could be cut like that, and then the Vikings shift their attention to Drew Dalman, who's a absolute stud, guys. He was awesome in the 2023 season, and awesome again in the 2024 year. Only allowing 4 sacks over the last 2 seasons. Overall grade of 82.3 in 2023. A 90.0 run block grade. Unbelievable stuff from Drew Dalman. 26 years old, hitting the peak of his career. But again, it comes down to this guy, Garrett Bradbury. Are the Vikings going to cut him? Well, they would actually save $5.2 million if they decide to cut Bradbury. And he is trending in the wrong direction. I hate myself so much for doing this. After this 2022 season, I was saying to myself, oh, Bradbury's turning around. He's living up to that first-round pick expectation. Oh, was I wrong. That's why when you guys watch my show, do not agree with everything I say. I'm probably wrong about 80% of the things I say, especially around the Minnesota Vikings in terms of predictions and hot takes. But, the past 2 seasons, grading around the 60 overall grade, like clearly he has struggled. And with the Vikings saving $5.2 million, it does make some sense to cut Garrett Bradbury. But besides Trey Smith, besides Drew Dalman, where else could the Vikings look? Now, we got a report recently that Mekhi Becton, apparently the Eagles are going to want to bring him back. So I don't know if he's going to be on the market. But you got the plug-and-play guys. You got the Zeitlers. You got the Brandon Scherffs. Then you got guys who, injury history of Willie Fries, James Daniels. I would prefer Willie Fries out of any name here besides Becton, but also if you want to go the plug-and-play route, I love the Zeitler-Scherff combo. And my guess at a plan B for the Vikings, if they miss on Trey Smith, would be a Drew Dalman, Kevin Zeitler combo, where then you just still run back Blake Brandel at left guard. So then it's Darrisaw, Brandel, Dalman, Zeitler, Brian O'Neill, and then you add somebody in the NFL draft. Like maybe then you go take a Gray Zabel and you play him at left guard. And, kind of that's the way how you shore it up. Or maybe you just look in the third round for an offensive guard, go toss big money at a defensive lineman free agency, then maybe you draft the running back in the first round. Like, there are so many dominoes that need to fall at big positions of need for the Minnesota Vikings. But that would be my guess at Plan B is Dalman, Zeitler, if they do miss out on Trey Smith. But I'll ask you guys this to close out today's show. What should Minnesota do if they miss on Trey Smith? Who's a free agent they should target? How should they attack the interior of the offensive line? You guys let me know your thoughts down below in the comments section. Now, if you guys also want to hit me up on Twitter, that's a handle right there, at Pat Sieps. Give me a follow over there, and I'll give you guys a follow right back. But we appreciate you guys for watching today's show. As always, Skol Vikes.